What's going on, y'all? Welcome to my channel and welcome back to my 8 subscribers. If you don't mind and you're a fan of the strange and mysterious and kind of spooky stories, then you should definitely consider subscribing to my channel. Today I got a couple of short stories for you, and I don't know, they kind of scared me a little bit when I was in the shower at home alone, so they might freak you out a little bit too. I'm not going to keep y'all in suspense any longer. Let's get into today's stories. In the early 2000s, a 19-year-old girl was home alone in her house in Alabama. Her parents were out of town for the weekend, and she was excited to have the place to herself. After making herself dinner and watching a TV show, she decides that she's going to go to bed. When she lays down in her bed, she lays down facing the wall, and she spends about 15 minutes on her phone, and after about 30 minutes, she puts her phone down, and she's laying there trying to go to sleep when she hears her closet door slowly opening. Frightened, she just lays there completely still, and she's like, I don't know what that is, I don't want to turn around and look, but I'm just going to pretend to be asleep. Next thing she knows, she hears footsteps coming from her closet, and she's just frozen at this point. She's like, okay, I gotta pretend to be asleep, I don't know what this is, I don't know who this is, but I'm just going to pretend to be asleep. She hears the footsteps walk from her closet, around her bed, and now they're stopped directly in front of her face. She lays there, eyes closed, frozen in fear, clutching her covers, and she feels a hand gently caress her hair and then caress her face. After she feels this for a few minutes, she cannot move. She does not want to open her eyes. She does not want this person to know that she is awake. Then she hears the footsteps turn around and walk toward the front door of her house. She hears the front door open and then close, and immediately she calls the police, her parents, and her boyfriend. Her boyfriend and the police immediately rush over to her property, and the police do a thorough search of the yard and the door and see if there's any forced entry or anything like that going on in the house. When they don't find anything on the property, they decide to expand the search a little bit into the wooded area surrounding the house. What they found, they could not believe. Police found a tent located behind the house, and it was filled with videotapes and women's clothing. Upon further inspection, they played the videotapes, and it was videos of this teenage girl sleeping in her bed, and the articles of clothing belonged to her. Turns out, this guy had been sneaking into her house for the past couple weeks through the doggy door located at the front of their house. This next story is about a man, his wife, and their 5-year-old son. The family had just moved into a new home in a small town located right outside of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The dad works at a law firm during the day, and the mom is a nurse throughout the night. After moving into this new home, the dad notices his son starts to ask him, Dad, can you check in my closet and can you check under my bed? There's a monster in here. The dad thinks, okay, we just moved into a new house. It's going to take him a little bit of time to get adjusted, so I'll entertain it. So the dad comes in every night before bed, checks the closet, and checks underneath the son's bed. Every night when the dad walks in, the son tells him, like, hey, Dad, this happened at daycare today. So-and-so happened at daycare today. So the dad don't think anything of it. He makes small talk with his son, checks the closet, checks under the bed, and then puts his son to sleep. After weeks of following the same routine, one night, the dad walks in and sees his son already in his bed. He's got his covers pulled up to his chin, and he's laying there watching his dad walk into the room. The dad thinks, okay, maybe he's had a long day at daycare, he's tired, he's ready for bed, this is going to be easy. So the dad quickly checks the closet, comes around his son's bed, and looks at his son. His son hasn't said anything at this point, so he's thinking, he's super tired. He's definitely going to fall asleep fast. No worries. I'm going to look under his bed since he's watching me. And when the dad bends down and looks under the bed, he sees his son laying under the bed staring right back at him. The dad is completely shocked, and he's like, he just saw his son on the bed, but he sees his son now under the bed. So he looks at his son, and before the dad recoils himself in shock, the son reaches for him and says, "Dad, there's someone on my bed." In the town of Columbia, South Carolina, a college student had recently returned back to his apartment for his second year of school. When he arrived, one of his friends hit him up and he said, "Hey man, we gotta catch this show tonight and it starts in about 30 minutes. The guy's like, "Dude, I just got back. I gotta take a shower. I gotta change. I had a long drive today." And his friend is like, No, you need to go ahead and get ready now. Just throw on some clothes, man. None of that matters. Let's just get to this club. We gotta be there first. They want to catch the opening act of a band that his friend knows. And he's like, "All right, whatever." So he throws on clothes, he grabs his wallet and ID, and he walks hurriedly out of the apartment, down the hallway, to the elevator, and to his friend's car. When he gets to the bar, he starts checking his pockets, and he's like, "Hey, I can't find my phone. I think I lost my phone." So they check the bar, they check all the tables they were sitting at, and he's like, "Dude, can I hold your phone and call my phone? Because I just want to know, like, I think I may have left it at my apartment, but I'm not 100% sure." So picks up his phone, his friend's phone, and he calls his phone, and it rings twice, and then someone answers. What he hears on the other line is a low, crackling laughter sound. And then the phone hangs up. So throughout the night, he's like, "Okay, who is this?" Like, that's what he was saying. And throughout the night, he calls his phone over and over again with no answer. So feeling a little bit uneasy, he's like, "Man, I think I'm just going to call it a night. I've lost my phone. I got to replace my phone. It's my first day back. And, I'm just going to go to bed tonight. Tomorrow I'm going to have to go get me a new phone." So when he returns back to his apartment, he walks in, changes clothes, and he walks to his bed. And on his nightstand, still plugged into the charger where he left it, was his cell phone. A 22-year-old woman had recently moved into her very first apartment. While she was sitting there watching TV one night, she thinks to herself, I haven't checked my mail since I've moved into this apartment. So she decides to go into the lobby where the mail slots were located, and she checks her mail. She grabs her letters and calls her boyfriend. When she returns back to her apartment, she's on the phone with her boyfriend still, and she walks over to her bed, into her bedroom, sets the phone on speakerphone beside her, and starts opening her mail. She's looking through her mail, when her phone falls off the bed and bounces a little underneath her bed. So she has to lay down beside her bed and reach underneath her bed for her phone. When she reaches underneath her bed to grab her phone, she notices in the corner of her bed, on the very back side and against the wall, there is a man in the fetal position, his head to his chest, and he's facing the opposite direction of her. He don't see her seeing him, but she sees him there. So she grabs her phone, pulls it out, stifles a scream, surprisingly, and holds her phone up and tells her boyfriend, "Hey, I gotta call you back. I gotta jump in the shower real quick, but I will call you back as soon as I get out the shower." She then hurries, stands up, goes to her bathroom, and locks the door behind her. As soon as she locks the door behind her, she walks over to her shower, turns the shower on, and opens her window to the bathroom. She climbs out of the window of her first floor apartment and runs across the street. She then calls the police, and the police arrive within 3 to 5 minutes. The police go into her apartment and walk out with a wide-eyed, estranged looking man. She thinks to herself, she's just looking at him and she's like, "Whoa, that's crazy. That's the man that was hiding in my apartment." After watching this man being escorted from her apartment into a police car, a police officer approaches her and says, "Ma'am, We got him. He's not going to mess with you anymore. He is actually a resident at a local mental institution that recently escaped. It's a good thing you seen him when you did and called us when you did, because when we walked into your apartment, he was standing outside of your bathroom door with a knife. If you made it to the end of my video and if you like some of the stories that I was telling, you should definitely consider hitting the subscribe and like button. Also, to my 8 followers that I do have, thank y'all very much. And like I said, I'm going to try to post 1 to 2 times a week, and hopefully I don't disappoint.